People are saying Ice Spice fell off. She lost 25 million monthly listeners in a year. We're talking about starting at 42 million monthly listeners, going down to the 15s of millions or something. Do we agree? Do you agree? We're going to debate this. Don't worry. Hold that here. Of what falling off looks like, something that applies to all of y'all artists out there, because I know some people are like, it's not my situation, and how we should really look at this situation based on how marketing works today, in this day and age, as they say on, is it The Family Matters? Don't worry about it. But here's the reality of it. Ice Spice, she rose really quickly. We had a episode, one of our first episodes on the pod was about Ice Spice, the beauty of how her marketing has worked. Her PR has worked. She rose quicker than any artist we've seen as of recent. Oh, actually, she rose quicker than any artist as of recent with less than any artist as of recent. We're talking. She only had like 2 songs out when she like started. Stupid, yeah, right?
Okay.
Now, here's the thing. I'm going to start with my point number 1 against why she didn't fall off, or how we can't say these monthly listeners are a fall off. That applies to every artist. And then we're going to get into some of the things you feel like she should have done better, and we'll figure it out.
Okay.
Number 1, she hasn't really dropped music crazy like that outside of this new song that she's dropped maybe, a week or so ago?
Yeah, as of this, yeah.
All right, cool. Yeah. And people were saying this pretty much right when she dropped the song. The reality is, if any of y'all artists drop music and one song starts to take off, your monthly listeners will look crazy. But if you don't drop new music, right, you go 6 months, 9 months, your monthly listeners are going to go down. Y'all have probably seen it before. All right. So we can't just say, just because Ice Spice lost 25 million monthly listeners, she fell off, if she hasn't been dropping a lot of music in that period of time, because people are going to move on from them songs regardless, even if they like her as a brand.
Mm-hmm.
So that's my biggest thing, where we can't just go straight monthly listeners. But do you think there's any validity or something she should have did better?
I mean, I don't think it's validity. I think what we're seeing is Ice Spice is approaching. I wouldn't even say approach. She's in her sophomore slump. You know what I'm saying? She's one of those acts that had a crazy entry point. Started off on a very high ceiling, and now we're just seeing, I guess, kind of like reality set in, right? Like, what does it look like for artists to have a moment, and then the moment kind of goes away, and where do they settle at? And so I think, yes. I think the music, I even add on top of the music thing, I think it's not dropping a lot of music, but then also not dropping songs that even got close to hitting as hard as the initial song hit, right? So if you look at someone like, let's say like a Glorilla, right? Like Glorilla got very similar conversation points around her at one point when she dropped that Cha-Cha song. Everybody's like, oh, it's over with, but all it took was her dropping another song that people really, really liked that changed the attitude. Yep. I personally don't feel like, not that Ice Spice has never done it, but she hasn't done it in a while. You know, with music, like, you're only as good as the last song that we like from you. You know what I'm saying?
Unfortunately.
Yeah, unfortunately, bro. You are as good as your previous hits and the last songs you dropped that we liked.
Yeah.
Especially when you're not, I mean, she's not a catalog artist. Like, you know what I'm saying? She's still, even though she's big, she's still playing a lot of the games that any new artist will be playing.
She can't be a catalog artist because she don't have a catalog.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the issue. Like, just like Lil Nas X, right? Remember I pointed out to you that he went from like 40, 50 million monthly listeners. He's now at like 23 million monthly listeners. He came in hot. He was on a crazy run.
Yeah. She
came in hot, and she was probably on an arguably crazier run in some ways.
Yeah.
Right? But you can't hold that forever.
Yeah.
Right? So these people are coming down to the point that most artists work up to in a longer period of time.
That's a good way.
That's really what's happening, right? So they went far beyond this. They start, getting in the stratosphere of names that we think of as superstar household names, but they were just there to monthly listeners. And it's not that they weren't superstars in their category or their niche, I would say, but I'm trying to think who has like 40, 50 monthly listeners that we can think of. Is that like maybe a Lil Wayne, Jay-Z?
Yeah, they might be around the 30s. 40, 50?
Let's see. All right, Jay-Z is at 34 million monthly listeners.
Mm-hmm. Maybe like a Big Sean or something? No, I don't know. Not if Jay-Z's at
Lil Wayne's at 35.
Okay.
Doja Cat's 54 million monthly listeners. Olivia Rodrigo's 52 million monthly listeners. So they very quickly start straddling the same space as those people, right?
As new artists.
with less in terms of content overall, particularly Ice Spice. So it's like, how can you go on such a run when most of her run honestly was not about her music? It was about her music that got her in there, but then just the conversation, the look of her.
Yep.
She became such a household name in such a short period of time, and I can legitimately say that because the spaces and places I heard her name mentioned, I was like mind boggled at points of time that you do not hear a lot of hip hop artists talked about too frequently. Like I would hear radio shows where if they ever acknowledge any hip hop and R&B, it would be like a Usher or Beyonce, etc. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, like, if you come up that fast, you got to come down to somewhere because nobody can be hot forever. Anybody who has a career has hot and cold moments. So having some level of low or down is always inevitable. It's just how far down. Down to 15 million monthly listeners, hey, that's still a career.
Yeah, and I mean, we talked about it before, right? Like, sometimes after a big marketing moment, you kind of need time to step back and see what is the new floor, right? So when Ice Spice started popping off, she was at less than 10,000 monthly listeners, and then her run, everything like snowballed really quickly. So you talk about nobody to song bubbling to song taking off and then just staying on the runway from that point off, right? She never really had a chance to step back, breathe, and then be able to say like, hey, where is my audience at?
Let's see what's real.
Yeah, exactly. Like, let me be able to see what's real. Let me see where am I now versus where I was when things started. And there's a part of me that feels like, this is intentional. Like, this is her and her team kind of been like, nah, let's stack some money up. Let's focus on some future moves and let's see what not only you're working with right now, but what happens if we just stay here and try to work here? You know what I'm saying? Like, what happens if we don't spend the extra money to put you in all these extra space and we just let you solely focus on the people that's paying attention to? Everybody needs that. You know what I'm saying? Everybody has to kind of like eventually take that audience hit.
That's a heck of a narrative spin, man. I love that. I love it.
You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying everybody does it for as long as she does it. We talking about a year, falling off for a year, but you got to do it at some point.
No, but no, that's real. That's real. You do want to do that as a team. I don't know how much I would say like certain people in certain positions desire to actually see it from a streaming standpoint, like because that's a visible thing. A lot of times people want the optics to look as good as they can make the optics look, but that is something that you need to do. Like, where is our floor? What is real? And it's going to be helpful regardless. Because again, 15 monthly listeners is a career. Not only a career, it's a career. You know what I'm saying? So there's nothing to sneeze at. But I think the reality is every artist should go figure these things out. It's like, one, all right, if I'm popping and I got this one song moving, this song and the monthly listeners I'm seeing right now, this is not my whole catalog. This is not me as an artist. This is the song, all right? And I think a lot of artists, they get perplexed when they go back down to X number of monthly listeners because they thought that, I'm up not right now. It's like, no, the song is up right now. Yep. Maybe you are lucky you have a couple songs up right now. So it's on you to figure out, how do I monkey bar and make this another situation that extends longer. And Ice Spice arguably has achieved what so many other artists would be trying to achieve after they have their first songs take off. She already broke as an image in popular culture, right? So she already did that. She's good. She's going to have another opportunity. As long as you have a brand, as long as people recognize your face, at any moment, you can become the biggest villain or hero in the world. If you have enough people that know you. It just depends on, what happens.
What do you do?
Exactly. What do you do, right? Do we find out some craziness and it's low, you in the news for some jail? You know what I mean? We know many of the characters who are in that bucket, and then do you find out, this person just had another song, this song is going crazy, and that's them, right? As long as we know who you are, you got enough people who know who you are, there's always a shot to hit a home run.
Yeah, and you brought the biggest point, man. Like I said, if you keep in your brain that she is technically a new artist, like her next album is only the second album, she's still technically a sophomore, right? If any other artist... Does
that mean Cardi B got kept back? Because they in the same grade now.
That's a good point. I didn't think about that.
she took him.
I don't know. I mean...
Cardi taking a minute.
Yeah, Cardi is taking a little minute to graduate, man. But I don't know. Maybe it's a strategy, bro. That's all.
I mean, I ride with Cardi. I don't think she fell off or nothing, but just using the sophomore thing, it's kind of crazy how much further ahead she popped, and then they both on sophomore albums.
Maybe that's why she rocked with all of them so heavy, bro. She's like, I'm basically still in y'all class, bro. You know what I'm saying? It's the cool older student.
Hey, it works. Yeah, the analogy works.
But it's like people forget, bro. Like Ice Spice is just basically a new-ish artist, and if in the same scenario, right, we had came on here and said, hey, this artist took 2 years to go from 0 to 15 million monthly listeners. That'd be a crazy story. In almost every other instance, other than, the one people are kind of putting on her. I like to think of another positive spin on it. You know what I'm saying? Like, I like to also think that this proves that she's not just a one-hit wonder. Because people like to say that she's some people like to throw that title on her. And I think that if she was a one-hit wonder, the numbers would be a lot lower. But this to me proves that even if you personally are not a fan of her catalog, I think it proves that there are fans of her catalog out there. Because there's no way Munch is holding up all 15 million monthly. I don't believe that.
Oh, yeah. I mean, the other songs are getting something.
Maybe Princess Diana.
Let's take a quick commercial break to talk about Spotify Discovery Mode, one of the most powerful tools when it comes to marketing music today, because it puts your music in the algorithm on Spotify to be listened to along with music similar to you without you having to run ads, without you having to do any content at all, which is why a lot of artists tell me they love it. But a lot of artists don't necessarily have access to Spotify Discovery Mode unless you're a 2Loss user, because with 2Loss, all artists have a fair shot at getting access to Spotify Discovery Mode just by submitting through them, and they pitch all of their artists' music to Spotify to be considered for Discovery Mode. So if you don't meet the criteria, if you are in the position where some of the larger artists are, sign up for 2Loss distribution at 2loss.com. That's TOO lost.com, because that's just one of many extremely valuable features that 2Loss offers to its artists to make their lives easier. And you can try out 2Loss for free by using the code NOLABEL, that's NOLABEL, when you sign up. So go to 2loss.com and check out how you can get your music heard everywhere.
The other thing that we do have to mention, because I didn't know this until right before we recorded this episode, apparently there's some type of beef between her and Nicki or whatever. So some Nicki fans I saw saying like, yeah, part of this is because when Nicki stopped rocking with her, a lot of her fans stopped rocking with her. Nicki's fans stopped rocking with her. All right, so that doesn't translate as heavily. Now, I know a lot of fan bases like to take credit for stuff that's not really theirs. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. You really think that, it was us holding somebody up, and it's like, nah, that's y'all aren't as powerful.
It's good timing.
Yeah, it's just good timing. That's what people do in life anyway on the internet. You just do it, blame stuff on your favor. Oh man, he ain't been winning as big since he done left me. It's like, nah, bro, like the market just tough. Bro lost his job. Shawty, it don't got nothing to do with the fact he broke up with you. You know what I mean? Like it could be one of those.
I don't know, man, because like Nicki fans, was a big part of that initial. Nicki in general was a big part of her breakthrough messaging. You know what I'm saying? Like, look at how she's aligned herself with Nicki. Oh wow, Ice Spice is one of the only new female acts that Nicki respects enough to do it. Like a lot of her early alignment was very heavy.
Early? No, how? Not early.
I mean, what? So that Complex article we looked at said that Munch popped in August of the year that it popped. And it said that the remix to the song that Nicki was on came out like 6 months later. And then she signed to Nicki and then went from there. Like
she signed to Nicki?
Yeah, they did, or like a partnership.
Oh, yeah.
But basically signed to her. That's all I think.
See?
So we're talking about month 6 and
it's
up?
It's like people's timing and God's timing. See, like in a normal career, 5 months is a short period of time. Mm-hmm. But how stratospheric her rise was, I don't know, man. That was more like a year and a half in. Of how high she went in that short period of time, I don't know if I want to give that fan base that much credit for that.
I feel like the optics were a part of it, because like so much of even Nicki's rebranding had a lot to do with Ice Spice and how she aligned herself with it. So it was like a win-win situation for them both at the moment.
I'm not gonna argue hard there. I mean, obviously she did have a part of it. That was if anything, it was definitely a notch in the belt of whoa. Here goes another look from another person and another random thing. She had all this stuff going on. So I'm not saying that being attached to Nicki, it was not any level of contribution, because that's always a contribution based on Nicki's legacy. But my point is, I don't know if that's the only reason. If it is another reason, I mean, if anything, it's bad timing to have that type of issue with a figure like Nicki while you're in a break period, because it just makes things look a little bit different as well.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
the just as quickly as things could rise, things can fall. But if you like, the bigger point for me in terms of this episode is kind of just to give a quick little real life case study of, hey, if you got a song popping, that doesn't mean you're popping. She fortunately got her popping as well in addition to her music, but now making her image elevate doesn't necessarily mean making the music elevate. And I think everybody thinks that those things are supposed to coincide perfectly. That's just not how it goes. It's rare that your music is at the same space as your image is. Mm-hmm. Usually, your image needs to catch up to how far your music is. That's what most artists are dealing with. And then you have some artists that have an image that they needs their music to catch up to where it is. And then they're doing the dance throughout the entire career until you're just like a certified legend or something.
Yeah,
like
until you set. Yeah, I agree with that. And I think too, even now I'm thinking about the Nicki situation, because now I'm thinking about, all right, what other public figures was she aligned with? She aligned with Taylor Swift. I ain't seen her and Taylor do nothing in a while, so I can imagine all the Swifties that came over, you know what I'm saying, because of that. You know, a good chunk of them probably got out of there eventually. And then in general, I mean, Ice Spice is pretty loner-esque in the music industry. Like, you don't really see her clicking up or linking with too many artists or figures like that. And
Lotto, Tate, Flo Milli,
like
any of those girls,
she's not linking up with peers like that. And you know, it's a strategy you see a lot of time with content creators, especially streamers, right? Where I could possibly not be doing something on my channel, but I come over on your channel and I guest star and I co-star, and that appearance and that movement keeps me afloat or keeps things moving while I still work on putting it out together, whatever I want to put together. So I feel like she robs herself of that opportunity. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's like the Flo Milli, Meg Thee Stallion, Lotto moment is like a great example of that, bro. Like, you know, like I can't remember who was, Glorilla. Glorilla was in that video. Didn't even have to say nothing, bro. Just her popping up and being in that video was a great look for her. People talked about it. I'm sure people went to, you know, check her out.
That's true. I mean, we've talked about before how if an artist rise quickly, they need to make sure that they're touching base with people at the radio and people in the industry, because those are going to be the people who support them if things aren't hot.
Yeah.
That same does apply on the artist and collaborator side as well. Particularly, and I would say this, not like people would just be like, nah, we don't have we have a problem with you, or we don't want to work with you if you are popping in any kind of fashion. If you're popping, well, you know, there's always new people to collaborate with. But the issue might become if she was moving so fast and it seemed to them as if she didn't want to do any work, or I don't know, somebody asked for a collab and the tax is way too high. Now they're like, you back over here now. You want to work, you know, like that does become a thing. You know, we know how things get. I haven't tracked her and her relationships with, you know, the other women of the industry, especially, or anybody like that. But if collaborations have not been like that heavy, or you don't see her around a lot of the artists, I do see how it could be perceived as, yo, you were popping and you went straight to Taylor Swift and didn't, you know, make any connection back with us and move within the women of the culture on this side. So like, all right, now you want us to save you, or now you want to be back over here. And that's a double-edged sword, because when things are moving so fast, you got to take advantage of those moments. It feels like, like, what can you do to slow it down? Do you say we don't hang out with Taylor Swift and get this big media moment that's hard to come by while Taylor Swift is feeling down and guilty or something like that? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Whatever that situation was, that's how people made it seem like it was. Like, her boyfriend said some crazy stuff or whatever and she felt guilty. But like I don't know if you turn that down, or how do you take advantage of those opportunities while, I don't know, making a connection with people that you don't necessarily know anyway, right? Because it's not like leaving your homies behind. All these women are coming up from different places, just like anybody else in the industry. Like, we're from different cities completely. We haven't even got an opportunity to be put in the same locker room. So it's not like I owe you anything. If you get what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So it's just one of those things where you have to be really cognizant of like long-term, long game and that value of that relationship building while figuring out how to take advantage of the opportunities that came.
Yeah, I think it's definitely one of those things you have to seek, especially with this. I want to say new, but this attitude a lot of artists have of like, I'm mainly focused on me and my situation. I'm in this bubble, right? Because I see what you're saying. It could very genuinely have been a world where upcoming Ice Spice had no idea who her peers were supposed to be, right? Like you said, like if I went when I was at 0, I didn't really have any peers, and I was at 100, and now my label or the world is telling me these are my peers, like these pop artists who are already up here. So I can see that, like very much so in the world where like if she's not already super musically tapped in, like how would you even know that? And I think a lot of it too ties into another point we had on there, right, about labels looking for these moments around you to figure out whether or not it's worth amplifying what's happening around you, right? Because what I thought about when you mentioned, when we talked about the collaboration stuff, I was thinking, I was like, man, no, I was like, early Ice Spice, like you said at the top of the pod, her marketing was great. Like they were doing everything. Like they were checking off all the boxes. And if you think about it, early Ice Spice was doing a lot of collabs. She was doing the Castanet live streams. You know what I'm saying? She was doing the pop outs with Nicki. She was doing a lot of this stuff. And so I feel like if we give her the grace of saying that, hey, maybe there were some things about her as a person that just maybe made her not think about this stuff, then we have to also give a lot of grace to the marketing label and the label and just say like, man, that was just like a great marketing run that you guys put her on, and now we can very clearly see that you stopped.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree, because also, again, there has to be the ups and the downs. Like hopefully you have more streams when you drop a new album, and then it should be a lull in between that. You know what I mean? Or when you drop a new single, the stream should go up, and then there's a lull in between. And a run is a run. It's a sprint. It's not a marathon when we talk about those campaigns or those periods of time. And you take advantage of the window's over, we chill, reconvene, and see how do we attack the next thing. But when you do as many collabs as she did, and move as fast as she does, and maintain also management of life, not burning out and all those type of things, there is an idea of like at some point, where do we go from here? We did all the things, a lot of the things that would have been on a dream list, and some of the things probably even beyond that for me to achieve in the first 4 or 5 years. And I did this junk in like
9 months.
Yeah, like 9 months. It's like you at the Super Bowl with Taylor Swift while she was dating Travis Kelce the first time. Like that's like, can't even imagine that at all. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, it's like, where do you go from there? And it does take some stepping back and trying to figure out that exactly. So yeah, I mean, I would not say she fell off. Obviously her numbers dropped, but that's a part of the game. If you don't like her, this is a good time to say, she fell off, because that's just the opportunistic aspect of it. But I think there's a reality of, we do want to figure out and see what the next moves are. That's just what everybody has to do, figure out what the next thing is going to look like. But I would put that more on that type of period versus, she just fell off.
Yeah, 100%. Like I think all the other stuff we said is more plausible. She's taking a break. Marketing team is drafting up plans right now, looking at the budgets, trying to figure out what they can do.
Oh, let's be real about it too. Also, like, marketing team could be going crazy, and things are just working, and then sometimes things shift, and it's like, dang, bro, that button not hitting. You know what I mean? I done ran out of like life or whatever. The firepower not going at the same.
The frequency again, huh?
Yeah, exactly.
Well, and I was gonna say too, or priorities could shift. Like we could also it could be things happening around her that are the parts of the marketing that you never see, right? Like when we start building out an artist email list, we no longer focus on new people, right? That's the period where a lot of times people feel like, like they fell off because the team isn't as focused on discovery as much anymore. They're more focused on like, all right, let's convert, let's identify, let's whatever. Stuff that like is very boring, honestly, and then doesn't really make the numbers jump crazy. Not the numbers that people would care about, because there could be a world where her monthly listeners drop 20 million, but her email list grew 200,000 subscribers, right? And like, so, you know, the perception would be, oh, she's falling off. But then from the other side of it, you be like, not really, man. Like, they kind of making the right moves. They spent a year and a half focusing on audience, you know, expanding the total audience reach they have. Maybe they spending the next year on conversions and data collection, you know what I'm saying? But, you know.
We'll see. Only time will tell. I think that's a good place to end it. I'm Brandon Sean.
And I'm Corey.
And this is another episode of No Labels Necessary.
We out. Peace.
Appreciate you for watching. If you like content like this, you'll love seeing our music marketing strategies that we use as an agency to actually blow up artists to millions and even billions of streams that are available for free at nolabelsnecessary.com. And the cool part about it that's going to really make you love it is we don't have to be all entertaining and add all this fluff just to get some views that we do on YouTube. We get straight to the information. There's play-by-play and courses that give you a breakdown of every step that you should do to get success. And you have the ability to have communication with us. We get on live talks, a lot of cool things for members, and it's free just to hop in. So check it out right now at nolabelsnecessary.com.